Bill Anderson never chased attention. His songs did that work for him. Quiet, enduring truths whispered through generations without spectacle or polish, which is why it stunned Nashville when, in his 80s, the Hall of Famer openly accused 5 Grand Ole Opry stars of what he called a grotesque betrayal of country music soul, a reckoning rooted not in bitterness but in grief for a genre he believed was slowly being hollowed out from within. At the top of that list was Kenny Rogers, a man Anderson once admired deeply, not merely as a singer but as a bridge between tradition and mainstream success, someone trusted to carry country music forward without abandoning its moral weight. Yet when crossover hits like Lady and Islands in the Stream proved that pain, poverty, and consequence could be softened and sold, Anderson saw not evolution but surrender. A moment when record labels stopped asking songwriters for lived experience and started demanding formulas, when heartbreak became vague, hardship decorative, and truth negotiable, prompting Anderson to withdraw quietly, refusing collaborations and doubling down on narrative consequence as an act of resistance. Second came Garth Brooks, once praised privately by Anderson as the most commanding performer the genre had ever seen, whose stadium spectacles in the 1990s alarmed him not for their popularity but for their cost, as fireworks, volume, and scale replaced intimacy, vulnerability, and silence, leading Anderson to warn that country music was never meant to be shouted but felt, a belief that guided his retreat into acoustic spaces and lyric-driven work as the industry chased bigger hooks and simpler emotions. At number 3 was Taylor Swift, a name that surprises many because Anderson initially saw her as renewal, a young songwriter with rare emotional clarity, until her formal exit from country in 2014 triggered his sharpest observation yet, that country music had once been a lifetime commitment, not a resume, and her departure signaled a dangerous shift where the Grand Ole Opry became a stepping stone rather than sacred ground, teaching younger artists to plan exits instead of legacies, turning the genre from a destination into a launch pad. Jason Aldean followed at number 4, not because he left country, but because he stayed while helping normalize bro country, a radio-driven movement that celebrated trucks, beer, and dirt roads without the hardship that once defined them, prompting Anderson to accuse the industry of singing about country life without living it, seeing songs like Dirt Road Anthem as symbols of imagery stripped of consequence, where authenticity became procedural and rural life was packaged as endless celebration rather than endured reality, leading Anderson to respond not with protest but with persistence, continuing to write about aging, regret, faith, and moral weight, the very subjects bro country avoided. Finally came Morgan Wallen, whose placement carried the most tension because it marked a line Anderson believed should never be crossed, as he acknowledged Wallen's raw talent but feared what happens when ability is divorced from responsibility, especially after controversies in 2021 overshadowed music itself, prompting Anderson to remark that country music once fought to be respected, but now excused behavior it wouldn't have survived before, a shift that signaled not just tolerance of chaos, but a willingness to negotiate integrity for numbers. To Bill Anderson, country music was never background noise. It was meant to sit with people in grief, regret, faith, and endurance, and when controversy drowned out that purpose, the genre lost its center, raising a final question that still echoes through the Opry halls. Was Anderson protecting country music or refusing to let it grow, and did these stars save the genre, or did he see its collapse long before anyone else dared to say it?